let's begin with a squat. Now, I will invite you to bring actually three blankets if you have them available. You won't need it, but I will use them, and you may find it helpful to follow along with it too. If the knees are sensitive, you may be able to squat on the blanket, like so. Okay? And if the knees are not sensitive and the ankles allow you to be off of the props, then do that. Actually, I'm gonna use the prop just for a moment to lift my torso up and invite my hips to drop and maybe just swing them back and forth a little. And then from here, the other blanket can just be out there. From here, I'm gonna take both my hands to one of the upper parts of the thigh, and I'm going to encourage the side of that side of the torso to lift off of that pelvis. So now I feel a nice opening along the area of the waistline and the side of the belly that is connected to that pelvis. And then do the same thing on the other side. So again, both hands at the hip crease, pushing down, and then encouraging. You can take the opposite arm to brace it up against the inner part of the thigh and move it out, move the lower part of the torso on that side off of the pelvis. Should feel really good. And then come back to center. Yeah. And then here, you see I have a stick. Maybe I should have told you, bring a broom along. Yeah, we're gonna fly. No, I'm just kidding. But I did get to hike around a little bit with the stick back behind me, like so. And it really helped my shoulders open and broaden and helped me access more breath. So an invitation to you, and you don't even need to be walking on the woods, wherever you're walking, but it might look funny to others around you if you're walking in this way, but it's a really intelligent way to walk. The tips of the shoulders drawing down, the fronts of the shoulders are broadening out. It's wonderful. And collarbones are open, so there's a lot more room for breathing here. Yeah. You can stay there longer, but don't do it too long. I did it for a little bit too long the first time, and I felt a bit of soreness on the fronts of my shoulders. Oh, there's a mosquito here too. Actually, it's not that bad. I was out really early this morning, and the mosquitoes were not bad today. So come into your hands and knees, and then here, lubricate your spine in a way that feels appropriate for you. I'm not going to guide you through this. I'm just going to move in funny ways, as I sometimes do, just to bring oxygenation into the vertebrae. The vertebrae loves to move, right? In wave-like fashion, however you want to do it. This is more of a circular way that I'm doing now. You find your own way that serves you. And just breathe and connect and loosen. Go to those little places that are tight, maybe incorporate the area of the neck. If nothing else, I like to do something like this first thing in the morning. And then from here, go ahead and move your props out of the way if you have brought your blankets onto your mat, so you have a little bit more space. Now walk one of your legs straight back. You are still kneeling one of your legs, but then take that foot out to the side and come on up. So we'll do some standing poses today. Yeah, I'll be sitting in the car for many, many hours, so it'll be good to stand firm on the feet. And you may be spending a lot of hours on sitting at the desk as well today. So a little bit of standing. We'll do Parsvakonasana, the extended angle pose, and we'll do Warrior 2. So here, let's begin. So imagine that the straight leg, I'll move in a little bit this way, that the straight leg is a straight leg of your Parsvakonasana and your Virabhadrasana 2. Okay? So then here, the shape of that Parsvakonasana, the side angle pose, would be this, right? So then here, you want that straight leg to be really straight, really connected, really rooted. And then from the area of the pelvis, you are extending the torso out. Breathing. The back body filling up through the lungs in the back body. The back of the head as if you had a wall back behind you. The shoulders are broad. And then the area of the glutes, they move forward slightly so that there's more of an opening through the front of the abdomen. And then from this side angle pose, you come into your Warrior 2. Right? So the only difference in what we just did and how the pose will actually be is that leg that you're kneeling on will actually be in a 90-degree angle. So then here you want this back leg to draw in more from the hip. Yeah? When we do the actual standing poses, then we'll just focus more on the front leg. So you have this reminder now of how to operate with your back leg. Your gaze is soft. The arms are extending out of the shoulder socket. The torso is long. And there's a tendency to jam up through the abdomen here on this side, so encourage it to move out towards the straight leg. And then go ahead and draw that leg in. Take a moment here just to notice. Let's do the other side. Extending the opposite leg out. So this is the straight leg of those two standing poses. Yeah. So we'll begin with Parsvakonasana. The hand here supporting the length on the bottom side, and this opposite arm that's going to reach up and over the head. Make sure that that shoulder's not jamming up into the neck, that it's drawing down. There's a lot of freedom here to the area of the neck. And then again, consider that back leg, the straight leg, whoosh down into it. And then from that engagement, then you lengthen a little bit more through the torso. So one long angle from the heel of that straight leg to the wrist of that top arm. The bottom, the center of the glutes moving forward slightly so that the front of the pelvis can open more. And then from here, come on up into your Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. Draw the top of that thigh in a little bit because it tends to creep up quite a bit. And then the side of the abdomen of the leg that is bent, draw it over in the direction of the straight leg. Rooting down through that foot, rooting down through that knee, engaging through both legs. So by engaging, I mean drawing the muscles of that straight leg into the bone, pushing down through the knee of that bent leg. And then from that stability, feeling the freedom for the torso to expand in all directions. Back of the lungs, breathe into that. Freeing up through the area of the neck and shoulders, broaden. And then go ahead and draw that leg in. And let's come into Uttanasana, your forward fold. So place your hands on the ground, the feet are flexed. I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a side view here on a safe way to come up. You can keep those legs bent. You can keep those ribs onto the thighs. Stretch the arms out to encourage the side body to lengthen even more from the pelvis. And then begin to find your way into straightening those legs. And it may not be accessible yet today. You haven't opened the hamstrings in particular, so they may be feeling quite tight. I like to massage them a little. If that's the case, it does help. But definitely don't force the opening, yeah? Just continue to observe how far the body is ready to go at this time today. Maybe swing a little bit to one side, stretching the side body there. Swing the torso a little bit to the other side, stretching the side body there. And then coming back to center, and you may find that now the hamstrings have loosened up a little bit more, and you can move in the direction of straight. I do have my feet hip width apart because I may find it to be so much more accessible to come into the fold, but it's up to you. Yeah? And if it's comfortable for you here, then go ahead and take your arms back and around the back of the thighs and just hang. Shake yes and no. Breathe. And so if you're facing the long end of the mat, go ahead and turn so that you have room to move your feet sideways and still be on your mat. And then go ahead and do that now. Pedal your feet out wide. Prasarita Padasana. And from here, take your hands by your feet, the same lane as your feet. Push down into the ground. And as you push into the ground, feel the sits bones lifting up. So you're pushing down not just with the hands, but with your feet as well. Lift up through the thighs. Breathe. And now bringing your torso over to one side, either side. Turn that foot over so that it faces the long end of your mat. And then look to see if the heel of that front foot and the arch of the back foot are on the same lane. And if they are, then you're right where you need to be. Otherwise, nudge it a bit. Take the arm of the bent leg and place that forearm onto that thigh. And now here, encourage that leg to bend to a 90-degree angle. Because the more you're able to do that, to bring that front leg into the shape of a 90-degree, the more supported you are in your joints. So it's worth the muscle engagement to do that. So imagine that don't imagine, actually literally do this. Push the foot forward to the end of the mat. And as you do, notice that you may open more through the inner groin. Draw the outer hip in. And if you're comfortable with taking Parsvakonasana with the hand down on the ground, do that. I'm just going to stay right here because this feels more accessible to me. But broaden through the collarbones, broaden through the shoulders. I'm not going to mention much about the back leg, but just remember the work that we just did with that back leg. And then go ahead, last but not least, extend that arm all the way out. And breathe. And even though this is a lot of engagement, it's requiring quite a bit, bring a sense of ease and wonder into the exploration of discovering more space even here. And then come on up into your warrior two. The thighs, they do want to work, right? These are strong muscles, so give them the opportunity to work. Similarly with the glutes, work them. They will provide a lot of support for the spine, in particular the lumbar spine. They'll allow you to be more solid as you go about your earthly activities. And you may feel like you've had enough for now, and if so, go ahead and come on back as you went in, and down, and then pivoting that foot back forward. Asarita Paruttanasana, go ahead and fold all the way if it's available to you. Here too, bend your legs if you need to. Yeah, that's not a problem. You want to find ease, you want to find the ability to release the spine. Yeah. So even with the legs bent, you can engage them and you can release the spine. You just don't get to work the hamstrings as much, but that's okay. You can do that at other times. And then as you're ready, straighten the legs. And pivot on over to the other side. Turning that foot out. And bending that leg. And now taking the same arm and placing it on top of the thigh. There may be more ease on this leg, yeah? We have one leg that's stronger than the other, one leg that's more flexible than the other. For me, the difference is quite significant. And for you, it may be subtle. But in any case, it's beautiful to take the time to approach each side as its own. Notice that I'm taking my thumb to my hip crease so that I can encourage, again, the abdomen to lengthen and not to be jammed up here in this side. So the thigh is moving down, the foot is pushing forward, the back leg is doing what it was doing when we were kneeling, and then go ahead and straighten out that top arm. And again, interesting thing about asana practice, I find, is that it's always an invitation to discover more space. So if you put yourself in a position that your body's not ready for, it'll be very difficult to experience more space, right? So you back off. You do it from a kneeling position. You just focus on one leg at a time, right? You could just be standing and just working with a 90-degree angle on the front leg. Put that foot on the couch, and there you have it. So here, wherever you are, whichever shape you've taken, just feel the ground underneath you, feel that support, and then allow the breath to lead you into experiencing more space. And then as you're ready, warrior 2. So see, for me right here, I want to come out, yeah? The thigh is like burning and I feel like I'm done. But then I remember a little more resistance, provided it's safe, my joints are clear, my joints are not screaming, they're happy. It's just the thigh muscle that is saying, ah, enough, right? But just here, that little bit of resistance with the thigh, in this case, it's giving it the opportunity to strengthen, right? And then as it strengthens, there's more freedom overall. There's more ease in the rest of the body. Because these muscles, they play a very important role, as I just mentioned. And then, if it's enough, and you go ahead and come back in as you went, and step down. And this time, let's just go ahead and take downward facing dog from here. Because we haven't done much with the hamstrings, you may still feel that you want to bend your legs, and in that case, don't be shy to experience your dog from this type of shape. It's far more interesting that your spine is decompressing, right? Than you having straight legs, but then being rounded on the lumbar. So really give yourselves the opportunity to decompress the spine. This is an inversion, yeah? So you are releasing, getting the fluids to circulate more efficiently by reversing them, the flow. Beautiful. And then right about here, I feel like the work is done, but it would be wonderful to close with a little bit of a twist, yeah? A gentle twist. So we'll do a restorative type of twist. As you see, I already have a blanket folded like this. This is what I was sitting on. I love to sit on the blanket like this. I sit on this little corner here so that the sits bones can be on either side and the legs are free to rest. Keep it the visual like that. Yeah. So we're going to keep that blanket in that shape right here at the end for now. And then let's take the two other blankets. So these, let's say they were in the Tadasana shape like that, and you just folded them once more. And you stack them on top of one another. So then from here, I'm going to move my stick out of the way. I'm going to sit right next to the prop. And I will begin to, and I'll take both legs out sideways like this. And I will begin to straddle the blankets. Surely this could be a bolster, right, if you have one of those handy. And then I am pushing down with both hands to create length for the torso to begin to twist. I find my way down so that the torso is supported by the blankets, okay? Like so. From here, I'm gonna take my bottom leg and I'm gonna straighten it in a 90-degree angle. I don't know if the camera allows you to see this, but my bottom leg is straight. And then I'm gonna take my top leg and I'm gonna straighten that as well. And I'm gonna place it right on top of the prop. So now here I find that my bottom hip is creeping up a little bit. So I take both my hands and I push down and I take both my feet, the inner edge of that straight leg back and the outer edge of the straight leg forward, and I push down on them to drop that bottom hip away from the ribs. And then I just rest here. Now this is a position that I like to stay in for a really long time. So don't be shy if that's what you feel called to do as well. So I am giving attention to the ribs that are touching the prop here, breathing into the prop. And then I'm giving my attention to the back of those ribs. And then revolving to the top ribs and then down. And I do find that after a while, it appeals to me to lift up a little bit more and then release that hip even further and then turn my head over the other way. So you see if that's appropriate for you as well. Continue to engage the legs because you'll find more freedom through the torso. So if I didn't have some packing to do right now, if I didn't have to get on the road, I would definitely give myself a minimum of 5 minutes on that side alone, maybe more. But that's not the case for me today, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other side. Maybe you want to join me on the other side as well. I'm just turning things over so that I can stay in touch with you in the camera, but obviously you can just roll on over to the other side. The idea is to have the bottom leg straight at an angle in front of you, and the top leg goes onto the other prop, which could be a block, a couple books, whatever you have, right? So you're sitting next to the prop, legs are bent, take both hands to either side, straddling the prop, and then from the low belly, lift and lengthen and go down. And then here again, find the bottom prop with that top leg and then straighten the front leg in a 90-degree angle. Okay, so you have a nice 90-degree angle here for both. And then again, I like to take my hands and press onto both my feet to lift up slightly so that that bottom hip can drop down, 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 down. And then from there, I come into this restorative place where I'm just working with the breath very gently. As I breathe in, I feel more contact with the blankets underneath me on that bottom side. And then I travel my attention to the back of those ribs. And then I move on up and I encourage that to drop forward more. And this is where after a while I may feel like turning my head over to the other side. But it's up to you. Surely if there's tension on the neck, then that's not appropriate. There's tension on the shoulders, not appropriate. You want to be in a place of ease here. Just releasing. Breathing. Moving into sensations. The subtle sensations. So allowing the body to revolve from within in a gentle and kind way. Because that's really the only way it's going to do it anyhow, right? To force a twist will not get you anywhere. So that the organs can get the benefit. So as you're ready, no rush. I bring myself up into a seated position. You may as well. And here, of course, you may choose to take Shavasana. Actually, why don't we do that together for a moment or so? You can open up that one prop. You have the other two long ones. You can use them for Baddha Konasana. Be lovely. Little support for your thighs as you bend your legs. So the feet are together. The thighs are resting on the prop. And then the blanket for your head. So come down slowly, come into your forearms. Lift the hips up so that the lumbar is nice and long, and then place the blanket so that it supports the head and neck. I like to swing a little bit for a moment. Taking the hands to the base of the skull is always a lovely idea to lift up, create some space. And then release back down. Lift the shoulders up, give yourselves a hug, roll from side to side so that area can also free up. And then one hand on the belly, one hand over the heart. Let go. Stay in this blissful state for as long as it's available, accessible to you. If you're ready to move on, take one knee over the other and roll onto one side. And using your arms, lift the torso up with the head being the last to come up. So yesterday morning I experienced a little bit of sadness as I wanted this to last longer. Being in the woods, in silence, just receiving nourishment from nature, with less activities, then I went for a walk. And I found myself in this beautiful little point, just surrounded by absolute beauty. And in that moment, I was reminded that this peaceful state is always present. It's always here within. Never not here. It's just a matter of, as we go about our activities, that we take the time to connect to that, no matter where we are, no matter how much stimulation is around us, and or our state of mind as well. So I wish that for all of us, more moments in our days that we can remember the stillness that is infinitely present within. Thank you for sharing this precious time with me. I'm so grateful. Namaste.